This presentation will address the development of educational inequality, particularly as it pertains to minority groups in the United States. The ideas presented here are in many ways directly associated with assessing the various challenges that the Hispanic community specifically are faced with in their pursuit of post-secondary degree programs. Some of the most important elements presented here revolve around the current status in terms of overall Hispanic representation in college and university settings, particularly when compared to other racial or ethnic demographics, as well as what is being done about these growing concerns moving forward. Educational attainment. Why is this significant? The attainment of a higher education is an important process for the country's development, firstly because it molds the young minds of the nation, preparing them for an ever-changing society that is diverse in nature. Secondly, diversity is at the heart of what the United States was founded upon, represents a highly idealistic view of equality in that anyone can be successful if they are willing to work hard to attain one's goals. The U.S. is an intricate social system in that it is made up of many varying types of people from varying backgrounds. This ties into the idea surrounding it as a melting pot of different cultures and customs. The underlying reality of what is hidden behind this idealistic view, however, is that in equal and just societies that the most important parts of society are dominated by a certain group of non-ethnic white Americans, who are in many cases the front runners for the highest quality and highest paying jobs, as they are also the most qualified and have the highest educational attainment among any other racial groups in America. This creates a direct relationship between socioeconomic success and the level of education, and thus establishes the trend of who is afforded these opportunities. Racial makeup in the United States. The large overrepresentation of people who affiliate themselves as non-Hispanic white Americans numbers in upwards of 140 million people as of 2015. A demographic of interest are those who are of age 25 or older, as those who have attained at least a bachelor's degree will fall within this age group. Figures surrounding the attainment of at least a bachelor's degree greatly sway in the direction of white Americans, as they make up more than double the percentage of Hispanics. 36% of non-Hispanic white Americans aged 25 or older have obtained at least a bachelor's degree. In comparison, only 15% of Hispanics within the same age group have accomplished the same feat. It is here where we can see the vast differences that exist for members of these two groups when we assess their representation in terms of their educational attainment. It is within figures such as these that we can begin to see the benefits associated with being or forming part of a particular racial or ethnic group in America. Advanced degrees. It is important to look here at a breakdown of the attainment of advanced degree programs broken down by individual race. Advanced or professional degrees are viewed here as those degrees that follow an undergraduate degree, such as that of a master's or Juris Doctor or PhD. It is through these figures presented here where we see white alone sitting at 12%, white non-Hispanics at 13%, black at 8%, Asian at 21%, and Hispanics of any race at 4%. We begin to see how both in the last slide as well as this one, the Hispanic ethnic group lies at the bottom in terms of the representation in the attainment of an advanced degree despite their overall increase in population. We can also see how even though the percentage of white Americans who go on to attain an advanced degree is relatively low, they do so at much higher rates when compared to other minority groups, with the exception of the Asian American racial group. The numbers associated with the attainment of an advanced degree by members of the white racial group are 3 times that of the Hispanic group. Emerging demographic. Here we have the representation of the emergence of the Hispanic population in the United States. It has been one, if not the fastest growing minority racial or ethnic groups in the country over the course of the last several decades. This is an important development for the state of the country, as they have become the largest minority group in the country, surpassing that of the non-Hispanic African American racial group. But overall, they make up a significant part of the population. Though these sheer numbers in population have increased at an astonishing rate, we have yet to see such a rapid growth in numbers when it comes to educational attainment, which ultimately translates to better job placement and socioeconomic status among American society. This provides an alarming realization that this demographic is not being adequately represented in the educational system, which also hints at some of the ways that other minority groups are also underrepresented in education despite their established presence within society. Assessing color in the United States. Taking a closer look at the differences in terms of enrollment as well as assessing the college or university settings, we can see the many ways in which not only those who come from a Hispanic background are underrepresented in the attainment of advanced degrees, but we can also see the trends that begin to form when we compare minority population success rates with those of white persons. It is important to draw and understand these differences not only because they are important in getting an understanding of how one minority group is underrepresented in education, but we can also see how their lack of educational attainment is setting a pattern that suggests that university institutions are not well enough equipped to support and foster the development and successful completion of degree programs for minority students. Breaking this down a bit further, we can see that people of color are vastly underrepresented in education. Minority or ethnic background in many ways equals low probability of college success. The development of such a blatant disadvantage of being a person of color in the educational system suggests that college and university institutions are also a part of the problem that fail to establish an environment for which students of color can adequately and effectively pursue a college education. Assessing success is a matter of race. One of the major concerns presented by the underrepresentation of minority groups such as Hispanics is that there exists a current educational system that in its current state does not yield the best results for members of minority communities, as is evidenced by figures presented showing the much lower attainment of college degrees by members of the Hispanic community when compared to members of the white race. This underrepresentation also hinders meaningful change in the university setting. At the heart of some of the current issues presented by racial inequality are the ways in which the institutions that are tasked with educating our country's future leaders enable the success of certain racial groups while doing little to nothing to promote the success of other racial groups. One of the major areas of focus for the development of real social change in the educational sphere is to assess the ways in which university curriculum appeal to these minority groups into the college culture so that this may pave the way to meaningful integration within the college experience with members of the community that may not have all that much familiarity with these environments. Creating a new diversity-driven institution. Developing models that actively integrate the ideas revolving around a diverse college environment must be at the forefront in trying to assess and eliminate a college experience that appeals only to one group of people. Creating programs and designations that appeal specifically to minority groups who are not as involved in the educational process is important for the development of a diverse college setting. Understanding diversity in the educational system. As one of, if not the largest, fastest growing minority populations in the United States, the Hispanic population makes up one of the largest group of people who have a significant percentage of people who are college eligible. It is with these figures in mind that it is important to consider the benefits of having an institution recognized as that of a Hispanic serving institution. It is important to transfer the population emergence of the Hispanic community to the university setting, particularly as this will result in diversifying the college experience. Part of the college experience in the United States is getting in touch with and being exposed to different experiences and getting out of one's comfort zone. It is with these ideas in mind that it is important to consider the growing Hispanic population in various parts of the country, but much more specifically, states which border ethnic countries such as the southern states of California, Arizona, and Texas, as they border with various parts of Mexico. It is important to appeal to these demographics in the college setting in ways that can effectively tailor to their heritage and culture by integrating these aspects into the university setting in the manner of diversifying the curriculum as well as faculty, that will ultimately help to bridge the gap for members of this community and the college and university atmosphere. Hispanic serving institutions. According to the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, a Hispanic serving institution is one that demarks that such an institution is made up of at least 25% of the total enrolled population as Hispanic at either the undergraduate or graduate level. The designation of Hispanic serving institution is an important element for the development of a college setting, particularly one whose goal is to ultimately provide a diverse education setting to establish a culture that is all-inclusive and that promotes efforts to integrate underrepresented groups of people through making changes, such as attempting to model a system that encourages the development and success of Hispanics. One of the main features of such a development plan would be to develop programs and curriculum that are all-inclusive and that appeal to wide sets of cultures, ethnicities, and races. The various ways that these changes can be set into motion is to pursue the designation of HSIs, as they can promote such things as the adjustment to minority students, including having a significant number of faculty and students of color, or a culturally sensitive curriculum. It is also important to note that through the integration and adoption of such models that attempt to focus on not only reaching out to minority groups through the development of culturally sensitive course materials, as well as the integration of Hispanic faculty and administration to create an inclusive environment, but it would also be important to continue to develop data collection initiatives that are tasked with assessing the development and retention of such changes in the university setting. Promoting culturally rich environment also promotes diversity in institutions that are geographically located in places where Hispanic populations are prevalent. Ultimately, the emergence of such a dynamic group of people, such as the Hispanic community, is important for the continued development of both college and university settings. Appealing to minority groups such as this is also a key element in continuing the foundational work set in motion by the civil rights movement.